What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live once again, first time with a back-to-back with the Fans with Attitude. It's a live sports talk show by fans for fans. You've seen First Take Undisputed. Well, this show is just like that, except with a live chat feature. So you can chat in the YouTube link, YouTube comment section. We'll see it live. I can't speak right now. I'm pretty hungry, not even going to lie. But let us know your thoughts on any of our takes, ask some questions. We might be able to answer them, or we'll get to them in the next episode. But make sure you like and subscribe. Join the Attitude Era, the fan base of the Fans with Attitude. Oh, my Lord. Anyway, but turn on notifications when we go live next time. Now let's get started. So last night, big milestone in NBA history. Number 23, number 6, LeBron James has surpassed Michael Jordan in points. Do you think that makes him the greatest of all time? Or
okay. So you're going to have to really hear me out with this one because I'm going to put a trigger warning for all the hardcore MJ fans out there. Is LeBron James the flat-out greatest player of all time? No. So we're going to start with that. He is not just the greatest player of all time. I will reserve that for Michael Jordan. But is LeBron James the best individual player of all time who has basically never had help in his career? Yes. Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time who could still get it done with a team around him, if that makes sense. Like, he was still able to average, 30-something points per game, be one of the greatest defensive players ever, that, put up all-time numbers, but he still had a team around him. Whereas LeBron James, I feel like a lot of his numbers, especially the scoring, get really inflated because of the amount of really bad teams he's played with. Like, if he wasn't doing the scoring, who would? So if that kind of makes sense, LeBron James is the best individual player of all time, I'd say, whereas Michael Jordan is the best player of all time who was able to still do it when he had, legit teammates such as Scottie Pippen around him.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of counter that. I think, obviously LeBron, greatest player of our generation. I saw a thing that was pretty cool. It was Michael Jordan scored his last points 2 months later. LeBron James gets drafted first overall. But I think the thing that Jordan did is he scored as many points as LeBron did, just about now, in less time. Like, yes, he took more shots, but the three-pointer wasn't really a big thing. Jordan had the shrug game, but especially early on in Jordan's career, he didn't have a three-pointer.
Heck no.
LeBron just pulls up. I saw a clip the other day. He literally just walked, let the ball roll down the court, picked it up, hucked a three, bricked the living crap out of it. That's not the point. Like people argue oh, LeBron, he played this. Okay, well, if you're going to do that, add in Michael's college points because he played 3 years in college. LeBron didn't go to college. He went to the NBA.
I've never really thought about that. That is a really valid point.
And you have to, LeBron was a starter, instant starter in the NBA. I don't think Michael Jordan, maybe he started his freshman year at Carolina, but he wasn't the premier guy. So I think, I'm not saying take LeBron's first 3 years away. And then also Michael Jordan, he lost his mind and wanted to play freaking baseball. I
he did have a death in the family. His father.
Yeah, he did it for his dad. I understand, but then you can, if you want to play the fictional game, maybe average Michael, give him his averages and add those points. Maybe then it's a whole different thing. Because maybe then if Michael had done that, went straight out of high school, and then didn't play baseball, who knows? He might have won 8 in a row, might have scored more points than Kareem. I mean, nobody knows.
That's true. There is lost time there.
Yeah, LeBron passing him on the NBA all-time scoring list is a huge milestone for him as an individual, and it proves that he is one of the greats. I'll put him at number 2, but I think what Jordan did in less time and not ever losing a finals is huge. 6 rings. I mean,
for sure. I was actually going to get into that, if you don't mind, about the finals.
Yeah.
And first off, I want to say hello to our awesome chat, Lemony Fresh, Christopher Vitello, if I pronounced that correctly. What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great night. Thank you for coming and watching with us. But back to the discussion here. I don't care what anyone says. I think rings really does have to matter when we're talking greatest players of all time. You can't have a GOAT who's not really won anything. And I'm not saying LeBron hasn't, but when you compare him to Jordan, I mean, like you just said, Jordan realistically could have won 8 in a row and would have been the only other player to do that besides Bill Russell. And I mean, granted, the time Bill Russell did it, that was a completely.
Bill Russell was 6'10" and played against you and I.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I mean, he was playing against people like us. Yeah, I mean, Wilt maybe near the end of his career, but like it was primarily a cakewalk for Bill Russell. I mean, he transcended the game for sure. But Michael Jordan, like I said, he realistically could have won 8 in a row in a time when basketball really, there's these joke pages out there that try to act like, oh, Jordan played against part-time pharmacists or whatever. You know who I'm talking about, Daniel. But you can't deny how many greats were around at that time as well. I mean, you had Dominique Wilkins, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. I mean, I could go on with that if I wanted to. Wait, what did I say?
James Worthy.
Oh, James Worthy, exactly. I mean, and that's his teammate, by the way. He did play with James Worthy at UNC. I mean, there were so many greats back then, and Jordan was still able to get it done. LeBron has had his struggles in the finals. I believe he's 3 wins, 4 losses, if I'm not mistaken. And I give him a pass on 2 of those losses. The time in 2007, first off, the Eastern Conference itself was just very weak that year. So the fact that he was able to, like, everyone's like, oh, he carried them through it. I mean, there wasn't really much to carry it through. And then, what year was it? 2000 or the last year. I mean, that team was abysmal. First off, I mean, Kyle Korver was his second best player. I mean, that was a rough team that he fought through a hard Game 7 against the Celtics. I think if the Celtics were at full strength, they're winning that series. We wouldn't even be talking about that as an excuse. But he's also had some very questionable losses too. I mean, he lost to the Mavericks that first year he got to Miami. And I mean, that Miami team was what Golden State is now. Like, everyone thought of it as unstoppable. So, I mean, Jordan's never lost in a finals. I don't even think it's ever been like closer than.
Yeah, I don't think he ever
went to a Game 7 in the finals.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, LeBron has lost 4 of them. And it's just, you can't crown someone as the greatest of all time if they're clearly showing vulnerabilities like that.
Yeah. So I think that's all we got to say on that. Now we're going to go into the NFL. There's some breaking news, I guess you can call it.
Yeah, so
big name guy, Case Keenum hasn't been technically traded yet. But
yeah, because that would be against the rules.
There's a trade in the works to get him over to Washington. I think it's Denver's 7th round pick for Washington's 6th, and Washington gets Case Keenum. So what do you think about this move?
Okay. I mean, I think Washington's only doing it because they're like, we don't want to waste a draft pick on a quarterback, and we have no clue when Alex Smith is going to be healthy. So do I see why they did this? I mean, yeah, they only gave up a 6th round pick. No big deal. Makes sense. Maybe he'll have some more success in Washington compared to Denver. I don't know. But for Denver, I mean, they just can't seem to make up their mind, dude. I mean, like I said, 2 years ago, they were debating between 2 young quarterbacks, Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. And everyone's like, oh, one of them is going to end up being pretty good. And now I couldn't tell you where either of those guys are anymore. So, they get Case Keenum last year. Doesn't really do much. I mean, I never thought of him as like above average. He had a pretty good year with the Vikings, but that team also was pretty heavily carried by the defense for the most part.
Diggs and Thielen were playing out of their heads that year.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, when you have 2 receivers that are that dynamic, it really does make things easier for a quarterback. But then, so they're like, oh, in Denver, we don't like Case Keenum anymore. Okay, so let's get Joe Flacco, who's at the probably tail end of his career, still on a terrible contract, had a horrible season. I mean, to me, it just says Denver has no clue what they're doing, or more specifically, John Elway has no clue what he's doing. Because now that they got Flacco, I assume they're not going to draft a quarterback either. And after going back and looking at this year's quarterback class, I mean, yes, there's 3 guys you could say that are going to be in like the top, half of the first round. But I would say there's a good 8 to 10 total quarterbacks that could be drafted. And and they're just completely like, nah, we're good. We'll just take Joe Flacco and his terrible contract. And I don't know. It really just seems like a clueless situation there.
Yeah, to me, John Elway, at least offensively, has no clue what he's doing. I think that he's probably one of the worst GMs in the league because that defense was kind of built before he got there, before he got his general manager job. So, I don't really think he has all the pieces figured out. I mean, Demaryius Thomas gone. Emmanuel Sanders has 1 year left, and he's 30 plus. Cortland Sutton, good pick, but they have no tight end. I mean, Jake Butt, he tore his ACL, but he's there. I mean, I think Troy Fumagalli, but they don't really have like that offense when Peyton Manning was there. Like that thing was great. Like that offense was great.
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning sucked, and it allowed Brock Osweiler, who's terrible, to thrive. So, I don't think Flacco has any idea what he's doing. The Redskins, I saw somebody on Good Morning Football said that they would kind of like to see Josh Rosen get traded to the Redskins, and I thought that was interesting, but that kind of shot that theory down.
I doubt that's happening anymore.
As soon as that happened, Yep. So, the Redskins, I think they're just going to try and get a placeholder for Alex Smith. Denver, maybe next year something will happen, and they'll be like top 3 and get Tua Tagovailoa, who's probably going to be the first quarterback off the board. So, that's my only thought with it because Flacco's contract sucks. Keenum's contract sucked, but Flacco's is worse. But having 2 of them on the same roster, I mean, it makes sense to move them, but I don't know. But now, kind of going on to guys who don't have deals. Franchise tag deadline was Tuesday. We kind of stayed away from it yesterday, but now we're here to talk about it. Key guys who got tagged: DeMarcus Lawrence, Jadeveon Clowney, Dee Ford, Frank Clark, Grady Jarrett, and the best one, Robbie Gould. So that kind of takes the market away for a pass rusher, really. There's some no-name guys or some guys who kind of fell off, like Ezekiel Ansah, who's still out there. You do have Trey Flowers. That's a big one.
I was going to say, he is very happy about the franchise tag situation because with all those guys getting locked up, the Patriots said, look, if we give you this franchise tag, it means you're making, $17 million this year?
17.4.
How about we just let's see where you're at in free agency. Do you want to take less and sign with us, or are you about to go chase the money, which following in the footsteps of a guy like Chandler Jones, I think Trey Flowers is going to end up going for the money. I mean, he's had great success with the Patriots. He's won 2 Super Bowls. Maybe he and I'm not even going to hate on him for that. Like, usually it's like the other way around. Vincent, no, he's not.
No, he's not. He's not. LeBron James is not the GOAT. Just clarifying it again.
But Trey, usually it's the other way around where a guy's making all this money and then like finally near the end of his career, he's like, you know what, maybe I should go win a ring. But no, I think Trey Flowers is going to do the reverse. He's got the rings. The market's wide open for him. He is the number 1 pass rushing option. Why not go out and make some big bucks off of it?
Yeah. The free agent that really made me happy that didn't get the franchise tag, Landon Collins. Come to Green Bay, baby. Please. We need him. We need to sign him. Trey Flowers don't really need him. But the Pats really didn't keep anybody.
Well, no, we had 3 options for franchise tag, and they pretty much said, we don't want to do that.
So I think, the guy, I put Nick Foles on the list of guys who didn't get franchise tagged. But he's going to get picked up by.
Right there.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are going to Antonio Brown either. Sorry, buddy.
Le'Veon Bell's a little more, and we'll talk about this. Yeah, we'll talk about this on Monday, but Le'Veon Bell's definitely the more reasonable option of the 2.
There. Yeah, but I think your second-tier pass rushing option is probably Ziggy Ansah if you're looking for a 4-3 end, or Dante Fowler He's a free agent too. The Rams obviously are not going to franchise tag him. So
It's all
definitely,
good, Lemon. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Sorry, Daniel.
yeah, Dante Fowler, I mean, that's probably your 3-4 pass rusher. So you have those two guys, but in all honesty, unless because of DeMarcus Lawrence has been tagged 2 years in a row, and I want to say it's like a non-exclusivity tag, so somebody can make him an offer. But
yeah, but I just don't think they will.
Yeah.
I think he's safe with Dallas.
Yeah, I think Dallas obviously wants him there, but I think where Dallas is going to screw up is not being able to lock him up to a long-term deal this year, and then they're going to make the mistake of signing Dak Prescott long-term.
And I just want to speak on the Trent Brown situation. So obviously, you guys probably didn't hear about him until this year. He gets traded to the Patriots this past, year during the draft because we needed some left tackle depth. No one expected him to start, and now he goes and has a phenomenal year. And the franchise tag that we would have signed him to, I believe, was $14 million.
Yeah,
you can correct me on that. Somewhere around that range. And that's not how the Patriots do business. We don't like to use the tag on anyone but a kicker or something like that who's going to make low, $5 million, even though we didn't use that either. But I think Trent Brown, as much as I'd like him to re-sign, and he has said he wants to, it's not a huge deal if he doesn't, because we drafted a guy from Georgia last year who's going to fill the place anyways. I mean, so I think any other team that's going to get Trent Brown, it's a great signing. I just don't know if he's worth $14 million off of one good season.
Yeah, 1 year, that's some, kind of crap that maybe the Raiders would pull, sign somebody for a ridiculous amount of money.
Okay, wait, pause.
Dak Prescott is not a winner.
Has he even made it out of the first round of the playoffs, or am I tripping?
I don't know, but he can't win.
You're right, Vincent. Dante Scarnecchia is the GOAT.
But also responding to Chris, sorry, Jeff Bezos definitely does not have enough money to buy the Eagles now because his wife secured the bag.
His wife's gonna buy the Eagles.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. No, I don't think Jeff Bezos is gonna buy the Eagles. The owner of the Eagles is definitely not selling that team. But that's about all we have for the NFL stuff. So now we are gonna move on to hockey.
Let's do that hockey.
Did you play the team?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Vincent, the division is called
Chris,
the NFC least for a reason. I'm done talking about football.
No, Vincent, it's not just hockey. Just hear us out here.
Yeah. So there's an article that came out today, and Drew found this, that said, it's an ESPN article. It said 28 out of 31 NHL cities legally allow THC, and therefore players are not penalized or suspended for using products containing THC, which basically means that most of the teams in the NHL will allow their players to smoke marijuana or, any of these wax, anything containing THC, to ease with the pain. I mean, hockey players go through so much. That's probably honestly the most brutal sport. I mean, these guys are out there for 2 or 3 minutes and get beat the living crap out of them. So,
yeah,
should marijuana or THC products be legalized for all athletes?
Okay. So first off, and one thing I want to go into that it was also part of that article that I forgot to mention. So basically, what it was describing was basically there's this unnamed NHL player, and it was just going through his daily routine, basically, of how it's showing how stressful it is. So they wake up for morning skate, they then go back. Then they do film and practice and all that, and then they go back again, and then they go, play probably 20 minutes total, 1 minute shifts at a time, getting the living crap beat out of them. And they said they end their day, they go home, and they use the weed to relieve some of that stress, and I don't see a problem with that at all, and I think it's cool that the NHL is not penalizing these guys, especially since it's legal in the states, or we said cities, but obviously that
certain
is state
states,
as well.
certain states
It's
are
legal in
legal.
these states as well.
And is it legal like all over Canada?
I
I'm not
think all
sure.
of Canada, if I'm not
So yeah.
mistaken.
So
That's
then
why,
Calgary and
yeah, that covers a lot of the cities. But my point with that being is, I think if for every sport, not just hockey, for every sport, I think THC, marijuana, it should be legalized, because the problem you run into where you're like, oh, thank you, Aaron, for confirming that for us. The problem you run into is you give these NFL players, these NHL players, like people that are playing the contact sports, they, go, they get an injury, um, doctor prescribes them, some painkiller or something like that, some addictive drug, unlike marijuana. Um, and basically, after their finished treatment, they end up, maybe they get hurt again and they get prescribed the same thing. And by the end of their career, they're like hooked on it and they become, like drug addicts off of these painkillers. Whereas if you just let the guys smoke some weed every now and then, they can be relaxed. It helps with pain. I hear. I don't know. Just letting y'all know. I don't know from personal experience.
you did
But
not inhale.
exactly. But I'm just saying. I think there's nothing wrong with it. For these players, it doesn't give a competitive advantage in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it'll slow you down.
So everyone's like, "Oh, you can't, allow products that ruin the integrity of the game." Well, how the heck does weed ruin the integrity of the game, especially if it's legalized in most of these cities? And it's a lot better than the alternative of people getting hopped up on these painkillers that they just end up becoming addicted to and falling down a slippery slope.
Yeah, or or going off of that, I mean, there's so many stories about NFL guys who get hopped up on painkillers and this and that and the other, and then they come out of the NFL and they don't have the money to do it anymore.
Exactly.
Or they can't get these medical grade, drugs. So either they're going to get arrested getting them, or they just turn to Old Faithful, drinking, and that provides like a bigger problem, is that the players don't know what to do after they're done playing the game, especially if they, their wife left them or something like that. I mean, that can make a guy depressed, in all honesty. So if somebody is drinking or doing other that, and then they get in a car wreck, that looks bad for the league. Johnny Manziel, not saying he'll do this, but Johnny Manziel, former NFL player, kills family of two in a drunken car wreck. Like something like that could look bad for the league, rather than being like, all right, go home after the game, smoke whatever. In all honesty, I don't even think the players should really smoke. They should have some sort of.
Yes, Vincent recognized it. Thank you. I'm sorry, guys. The Tebow fathead is falling. His head looks like it's cut off. I'm sorry. Daniel, continue.
But just for your lungs and whatnot, they should probably find some other way to kind of get that into their system, whether it's like a supplement, or I don't think you could drink it, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying with that. I mean, the way science is now, you could find another way to get it into the players.
I think weed could be legalized just in general. I'm a supporter of that, because
me too.
So many jokes can be made, just weed jokes. They're hilarious. But like if somebody has to choose between, oh yeah, I'm gonna smoke some weed, or I'm gonna drink 10 beers, or I'm going to pop, a bunch of these prescription pills, why would you do something that's so much more detrimental or addictive than just saying, all right, let's get stoned and chill on the couch, recover from the day.
Exactly.
Almost. It just seems like so ridiculous that somebody, Josh Gordon, for an example, or Le'Veon Bell.
I was going to mention that.
Those guys, yeah. I'll let you talk about them, because those guys are sad stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad with Le'Veon Bell. He hasn't really had it as bad as Josh Gordon has. I mean, Josh Gordon right now, and throughout his entire career, basically, has been made to look like a really bad guy, almost like a criminal. Like, he gets suspended, like, every year, it seems like. He can't, quote unquote, get out of his own way. But the fact of the matter is, the guy is just smoking some weed, and we are taking him out of the league. He, in the very little time he had with the Patriots this year, he flashed a lot of like talent that we all wondered if it was still there, because he missed an entire season worth of football. And I mean, the dude put on a show, and then he got taken out again because I believe it was during the bye week. He was caught smoking again. He enrolled in a rehab, and the Patriots are paying for it, which I think is really cool. But again, this is a guy that we're making him out to look like a criminal because he's smoking weed. And I mean, if there's other stuff going on, okay, that's a different story. But the fact that he's getting suspended for marijuana found in a piss sample is it's ridiculous at this point. I mean, and especially New England or Massachusetts, it's legal. So again, another one of those examples where it's like, why are we still doing this? Whereas, I mean, the commissioner has no problem, putting his foot down on that, suspending a guy for, marijuana use. But yet, when Ray Rice, punches his girlfriend and goes to him and says, "Hey, I just did this. A video's about to come out about it." He's like, how long what do we do about this guy? Oh, let's just suspend him for 2 games. That should be enough. And then the video comes out, and he's like, "Oh, crap, I got to do more about this. I'm getting a lot of heat. Oh, okay, Ray Rice isn't allowed to play anymore." And it takes that much to figure out the situation. Whereas with a guy like Josh Gordon or Le'Veon Bell, like you said, it's just they're smoking weed. And, oh, yeah, you're out for 6 games. You're out for half the season. You're out for the year, whatever it is. I mean, it's just a really weird situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, first of all, LeGarrette Blount, dude, you can't smoke weed, just like you can't until you retire because your last name's Blunt. They're going to test you every week. I do agree, Vincent. Roger Goodell is by far the worst commissioner out of any of the major sports.
He is the worst commissioner in professional sports, no doubt.
Just hands down, he's terrible, absolutely terrible. Martavis Bryant, you remember him?
I do,
Dude was so good. Came out of Clemson, not a big name guy. I think he got picked in the 3rd round. So fast, 6'4", could jump out of the gym, but he couldn't. He just got caught smoking. Yep. And it's so ridiculous that a guy who is that talented and had such a promising future got suspended over and over and over. Now, granted, it wasn't legal at the time, and I understand that these players, yes, they do have to follow the law, but
that's the thing, is in some of these states that they're playing in, it is the law. Like, they're allowed to do it if they weren't in the NFL or something like that. So it's like, I don't know. It's just really it's weird that it seems like the fact that the NHL is having no problem doing this, allowing it, but all these other sports make a huge deal out of it. It's just, I don't even know what to say about that.
And this kind of gets into policy almost, that then you can't just completely be like, okay, well, if it's legal in your state, then you can smoke it, or you can, be found testing positive for THC. Sorry. CBD is something too. I'm not too familiar with that one. I need to read up on it, but that's legal in the United States. Yeah. So if they're getting caught using that stuff, and they're getting suspended by the league, why? If there's a legal substance in the United States, then why can't professional athletes take it? Mm-hmm. I understand creatine. I think that's banned in the NCAA and the NFL. But, they're obviously, if it gives you a advantage, then yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to use it. If I take this, these 3 combinations of supplements and I can put on 15 pounds in, 3 weeks of muscle and just be an absolute unit.
There it is.
Then, yeah, that shouldn't be allowed because it gives you a position or a participational advantage. But, dude, if your running back is high before the game, either 1, he's going to run slower, or 2, he's not going to feel any hits and bounce off.
And that's good for him.
Yeah. He's just not going to feel it. It's not going to be like, oh, he's not going to feel it, so he's going to run harder. No, his body still gets tired. but just, and obviously I'm not encouraging smoking before the game. Don't smoke. Don't do anything.
No, yeah, it's not even about that. Like, don't do it on the job, but that would be standard for anywhere. I'm just saying, like, just in their own free time during the off season, after a game, whatever. I mean, come on, it's like we gotta get the ball rolling on this thing. We are way far behind on that.
And honestly, if a bunch of these major, if the NBA, MLB, and NFL all allowed THC products, I think it could lead the way for it becoming legalized in the United States as a whole, which would probably benefit a lot of people. I know it's a whole issue and whatnot, but especially because we're down here in the Bible Belt South, can't smoke that devil's lettuce. It's gonna be hard. And then especially like I said earlier, if teams are like, okay, well, if it's illegal in your state, you can do it. Well, then if there's guys like Le'Veon Bell who want to smoke, they'll go to teams like Denver and New England and Seattle over a team like Green Bay where it might not be legal.
True. It could mess things up.
So it could, it's kind of, and that would be like paying college kids scholarship, being able to pay kids more if you go to Alabama than if you go to Charlotte. So
Duke.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone was in my throat there.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Bless you. But yeah, yeah. It just makes no sense that especially like if somebody is on the commissioner's exempt list because they were smoking some reefer, it's ridiculous. Like if you get a marijuana charge and you get released from prison, and like you don't immediately get tossed away from your job application, and the guy goes, all right, what'd you go to prison for? To be like, I just got caught with weed. Then I don't understand. Like those people can still get jobs, but you can't do what you've put your heart, soul, your hard work into for years and years and years. And then you take, you smoke something to take the pain away, and now you can't do your job anymore. Like,
well, and also, I mean, the fact of the matter is it really does ruin the quality of play. Like when you got like some of these top tier players, having to sit out a whole season or a couple games here and there, like for weed, like it's just like then you get some really boring games because the people that sell the tickets or get people to want to watch the games on TV are now sitting on their couches wondering oh, why did they just randomly decide to drug test me this week and find out that I did that and then I get suspended? Like, it really is annoying the amount of times that people are getting caught for this. And again, it's not benefiting the players in a way that's changing the integrity of the game, quoting Roger Goodell himself. That's something he would say over and over and over to all about the integrity of the game. And weed does nothing to like change that. So I don't see what the big deal is, especially when it's something they're doing in their free time.
Yeah. Now, we're not encouraging guys. Like I know people when we played in high school, they would play games high, practice high. I couldn't tell, but that's just me.
I mean, that goes for anywhere. I'm sure that's happening.
But like obviously if you go into your job and you are high or drunk or something like that, then yeah, you're probably going to get fired. But your boss can't be like, oh yeah, after you get off work, don't smoke because we're going to drug test you tomorrow morning and you can't smoke weed in your free time. Well, why?
Yeah.
It's, again, don't break the law. But if it's legal, why aren't they allowed to do it? It just makes no sense. Or at least I want to say CBD is probably banned by Roger Goodell too.
I'm sure it all is.
Yeah, and CBD is what really like helps take the pain away, I believe.
Yeah.
So if that's banned, like that's legal in the United States. So I don't understand why this governing body decides to have it be legal, but then the organization itself is like, nah, screw you. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. All right, so that's probably all we have to say about the marijuana situation. I mean, clearly, I just want to say the NHL is really paving the way for the rest of these sports. Maybe the others will follow in their footsteps. We both agree they should.
Yeah.
So now, do you want to? I forgot to put it on the script here. Did you want to discuss the Shawn Oakman situation?
Oh yeah.
All right. I can introduce it if you want.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we
I can do
completely
it.
apologize. We should have kept this in the NFL, the football section, but technically he's not in the NFL,
This is
so
kind of bigger than football
yeah,
almost.
exactly. And this isn't even about football. So if you haven't heard of him, basically he was that dude who played for Baylor, and there was that meme about him.
Everybody's seen him.
Well, yeah, where like he's this monstrous guy standing next to the ref, and it's like,
He
it's
coined the
offsides. No,
term absolute unit.
yeah, he really is the definition of an absolute unit. And he was like the guy that was made a meme because it was like, oh, you were offsides. I was offsides. Oh, actually, you weren't. Like that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
or just his size alone was like could change his mind. And so basically what happened was, and we're not going to get into the whole legal discussion. That's not what our our job is here. But basically to just give you the idea of what happened. So basically it was, I believe, 2015 or 16 when his college career was over. He was supposed to go into the draft, or at least the combine. And he was accused of, was it domestic violence or sexual assault, something like that. And it took 3 years for them to finally be like, actually, it never happened.
Yeah.
So now here we are in 2019. Shawn Oakman has not played football in 3 years. And
he's in his prime.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the prime right now, exactly. So basically what we're discussing right now is, should he be allowed, or should he be able to be should he be given a chance to play in the NFL now that his record is cleared up?
Yeah. I would give him a tryout at least. I mean, obviously the guy hasn't played football in a long time. Hopefully during the process, because I don't think he was held in jail during the trial process. But
yeah, I'm not sure about that or not.
Hopefully that he did stay in shape, because especially if you didn't do something, like, you should prepare for the best. Obviously you do have to prepare for the worst, but hopefully, and you on the daily prepare for the best. And especially because he didn't do it and the girl came out and said that she lied, I think I would give him a chance. I also think it needs to change that during a trial process, unless it is something like a murder case like Aaron Hernandez, that a player should be at least allowed to participate in workouts or combines or something like that. Obviously, I don't think he should be draft eligible if this process is going on, because a team, well, actually, I would say he should even be draft eligible, because you never know when the case will get dropped, if it gets dropped. And guys, especially in the MLB, like Kyler Murray got drafted in the first round, and then the Oakland A's lose a pick. So, guys don't always end up playing. There should be a clause in the contract that he signs. But, a guy who goes through a situation like this, and it's happened multiple times. I mean, it happened to Ohio State running back.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the first guy to experience this either. It's just he was the biggest name as of lately.
Yeah. And, again, the whole legal thing, we're not going to debate whether the girl should serve prison time and whatnot. But, a guy should be allowed to at least participate, because you never know what might happen of it. And I'll say this about the legal system. It needs to speed the hell up. A guy who gets accused of this in 2016, why is it taking 3 years to prove that he didn't do it?
And that's exactly, that kind of leads into what my argument was going to be, is I don't know about the whole, like, should he be able to participate in all the workouts and in the draft, like what you said. I don't know how I feel about that. But the fact that it took 3 years just for them to find out that nothing ever happened, it was all a lie, whatever, that's the ridiculous part. Because if it was like he had to miss out on 1 year, it's not as big of a deal. He's 1 year removed rather than 3. And I don't think an NFL team, again, 3 years is a very long time when it comes to professional sports. So I don't think an NFL team is going to immediately give him a chance. But this just kind of, it's a really big, props to the Alliance of American Football. Is you have a league like that now, or the XFL
I was
next year
just about to talk about that.
is now, now he does have a chance to get back into it, to prove himself that he can still play football if he can. I don't even know if he's planning on it. I haven't heard anything yet about that.
He said he wants to.
So he has said he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, and now he has an opportunity. It's not just like, oh shoot, well the NFL's not going to give me a chance, so I'm screwed. Now he can go to the AAF or the XFL if he has to wait another year. And
shit, he can go to Canada too.
or to the CFL, and he can prove himself, make a name for himself again. And I don't know how it works if he could technically, be drafted because he didn't go through the draft process.
He can.
Yeah, because I mean, there's guys like Brandon Weeden. Remember him a couple years ago, who didn't get drafted until he was like 27. So I think it's very possible that he could get his name back into the draft discussion. But I just want to say it's props to the AAF for being a league that now can allow for a guy like that to fight for himself and really prove that he's still got it.
Yeah, I like the AAF, especially. I know, because I read up on him because I was like, what the heck happened to this dude a couple years ago? It's like he was this big dude, and then we never heard anything from him.
Exactly, it was weird.
And because that picture was taken his junior year, I believe, and he could have left, but he didn't. He stayed for his senior year, get more film and whatnot. And he had a down year. I think he battled some injuries and just had a down year. So he probably would have been like a 4th or 5th round pick anyway. But he's so massive. Like a team probably would have taken a chance on him.
Someone would have.
And I think now, because he's so big and his film is 3 years removed, I would give him a tryout because you see guys like Rico Gathers for the Cowboys. He played basketball. He got drafted having never played college football in his life. And now he plays for the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I can't stand that personally. That's like a Chris Hogan type thing. Oh, I played lacrosse for 3 years. Now I want to play in National Football League. No, screw you.
Yeah.
But so if guys like that can get a chance in the league, I think a guy like Shawn Oakman, who got screwed out of his chance, should at least be given a workout opportunity.
I can agree with that. All right, so I think that's all we have to say about that for right now. We'll see, whether he gets an opportunity with the NFL or the AAF or something like that. But something, if you haven't already noticed that we've kind of done this, but something we're going to start doing now is after each show, we're going to give a shout out to someone in the sports world. So I'm going to let Daniel do his first. Big man, retiring, former Packer, John Kuhn. Daniel, you want to speak on him a little bit?
That was our version of Luke Kuechly. Love John Kuhn. He played for us 9 years. I mean, dude was guaranteed at least 2 yards every carry. So, I mean, if that's not Hall of Fame status right there, I don't know what it is. But no, he was a great leader in the locker room. Loved watching him. It was sad to see him go, but Lord, to watch him leave. But it was fun. It was fun to watch him. Corey Hall and him both kind of came in as linebackers, transition to fullback. I mean, he was drafted at Shippensburg. Where the hell is that? Nobody knows what it is. A guy from that small of a school playing a position that's barely there in the NFL anymore. And now I believe at least he's a Packer Hall of Famer. So shout out to John Kuhn. Love you, buddy. Wish you and your family the best in your retirement.
All right. So, again, very happy to see very happy for John Kuhn that he's retiring. Wish the best for him in his retirement. Daniel thinks he's going to make the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, and it could happen.
Without a doubt.
And so my shout out for this episode, Vincent said it earlier in the chat. I was trying not to go into that, but I'm going to say it now. Gordon Hayward, my man, you have been something else this year, not in a good way necessarily. It's been tough to watch the Celtics and just see you struggle because we all know how good of a player you are. I mean, before the injury last season, you were a really good basketball player, a great basketball player. And obviously, unfortunate stuff happens. You mess up your foot really bad, have to miss a whole year. And it's been tough because, guys like Paul George have done the same thing, and they almost were able to just come back instantly, and it was like it never happened. And that it hasn't been quite the same with you. You've had a couple games. I think that Warriors game a couple days ago, that was your third 30-point game of the season off the bench, which you are now the third Celtic ever to do that, by the way. Kevin McHale, Ricky Davis, Gordon Hayward. Pretty legendary company there, if
Nerd
you ask
alert.
me. What?
Nerd alert.
Yeah, I know. Nerd alert me with the Celtics. So I just want to say, and then, last night he goes and he hits a game winner. The fact that we're having to hit game winners to beat the Kings is kind of annoying, but he hit the game winner. We win the game, which we really need wins at this point, sitting at like 5th in the East. So I just want to say it's cool to see you getting your confidence back, little by little, and hopefully come playoff time, you're back to, the Gordon Hayward we all know and love, and can, with hopefully Kyrie Irving, put this team in the right position to, maybe get banner 18. I'm not saying they will, but it'd be awesome to see it. And Gordon Hayward, you are the man.
Yeah, shout out Gordon Hayward. Your League of Legends commercials always make me laugh. So there you go.
I'm wearing your headset, HyperX, by the way.
But yeah, that's about all the time we have for Fans with Attitude. Make sure if you join the video late, subscribe, turn on the notifications, follow us on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram. We got it all now, baby. So make sure you follow that. Comment any questions, DM us on Twitter, Facebook Messenger. We'll find that out. But any questions, comments, things you like, things you want to see us improve, we always love feedback. But yeah, that's all we got for today. See you guys on Monday.
All right, see you on Monday, guys.